Fantasy Flight launched their new, well, they announced their new interactive division, and the first product they've officially said is going to be coming out from that company is the Lord of the Rings digital version of the living card game that currently exists.
Yeah, this is a bit of a surprise because when we first heard about their division, we're like, oh, they're taking their properties but making whole new things in video games.
We kind of thought they were going to go in the direction of more like a traditional video game, less like an adaptation of a board game. From the sounds of this, it's pretty close to just an adaptation of the LCG. What we know about it so far, pretty much the same. It seems like they've streamlined a lot of stuff because of the digital translation. Deck building, I know, is a little bit different. Some of the cards may be tweaked. It's going to be free to play. It's still going to be an LCG style, meaning there won't be blind packs or anything like that. But you will be able to spend real money, of course, to buy additional cards. I know it's going to be in early access starting pretty soon, if it's not already by the time of this video, pretty soon, Q1 of this year. And there's like some founders packs you can buy and things like that. But for the most part, free to play, free to start, to be released later in the year. And it will have both solo and co-op modes. But yeah, there's some, I don't know, being a person I have yet to play the Lord of the Rings LCG. Is there anything, when you play it, do you think it would work well as a digital version? Or is there something about it you think might even work better as a digital version or wouldn't work?
Well, plenty of card games, it's sort of nice when you have the digital version sometimes because it's like, if there's a trigger you forget or something, the game will remind you.
Right.
So usually that's the one nice thing about it. And I do feel that if we are just going to port one of their games early on, maybe early on to make the initial money to then help fund later ones. I'm being optimistic here. Because as we said in our previous when we first announced, there's plenty of stuff to make good stories. I do think this is a good one. It hits the solo group very well, which I think is much bigger in the digital area. And it still has the co-op. The Lord of the Rings has a huge title name attached to it, which is going to be great. I'd like to see them, since it's digital, they might as well maybe see if they can do some weird special, maybe in the Founders Pack, or like, because they do standalone stories sometimes, but crossover with the recent Lord of the Rings game, like something that involves that character and that storyline. Well,
and you know, they're also supposedly launching that new Amazon Lord of the Rings TV show. Maybe I wonder if there's any thought about synergy there, trying to launch with that, or if they would ever incorporate any of that to either the digital or the regular card game. I don't know. I
don't think that would get too many fans of the original angry. I don't think the video game pushed any buttons, so that could be a cool thing. Yeah. But like I said, I would love to see them really take the titles that aren't already big, like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it was a little disappointing. I think maybe, unfortunately, our hopes were too high, and maybe it does seem like it's going to be an awesome adaptation of this game. We thought they were going to like really make video games. And it seems like from this first one, we'll see what happens.
But like I said, I think I'm still optimistic. I think it's one of those, look, it's our first stuff. We want to make sure we make the starting money to fund the other things. And I think the LCGs are a no-brainer, especially they're almost like a great way to just taunt the video game system, because when you usually think cards, you think of Magic the Gathering, which are random packs, or the loot boxes we've talked about before. So you're like, hey, look at this card game. Set packs.
Is this the first digital card game of that type that has done that?
No idea.
Yeah, I can't think of any that, like Hearthstone, the Gwent, I think.
Dragon Forge, was that the VR one?
Oh yeah, Dragon, whatever the VR one was from Oculus. Dragon Front, that's what it was.
I knew it had an F in it.
And the upcoming, like the Elder Scrolls one, I'm pretty sure they're all random packs. So yeah, that could be a big deal for people who don't really know that LCGs exist, to get this new way of having.
And I do know that the Lord of the Rings game, the previous one, while it wasn't as bad, I think just because the way the game worked as like Star Wars or Destiny, it had a loot box system. So then it'd be like, no loot box over here, and everyone's like...
Yeah, that could be a thing. You don't have to pay $800 for Frodo or whatever.
No, you just need to get all the cards. But I mean, like I said, I did enjoy the game. I do think it's fun. Really, this only comes at this point not because we don't like the game, but just because we were hoping that they'd take some more risks. But I'm going to stay optimistic and say this is more of just to help fund until they get to the more interesting stuff.
Well, either way, it's free to play. It's going to be in early access on Steam soon, so not much of a risk in at least just trying it out once it comes out. So that's Lord of the Rings Online. Look for that early this year. If you enjoyed this video, it was just a snippet of our full-length podcast, which you can find on our YouTube channel every week. So please go ahead, like, and subscribe for more board game-related content coming at you in the future.
And don't forget to check out rollforcrit.com, where we actually sell a lot of the games we talked about, as well as post news and all our other videos. Until then, I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and this is Roll for Crit.